Welcome back to Intuitive Innovations at 216 Creator Studio. I'm Luna Goddess. Quick question for you. If someone that you love could come back and talk with you for 5 minutes, what do you think they'd say to you? Do you think they'd talk about regret? Maybe about the relief of being on the other side? Or maybe it's a combination of both. As a trained medium, I'm able to communicate with the other side. And quite honestly, a lot of times they have relief from whatever they were suffering in this world, but they have concern for the people that they've left behind. So I want to talk about how love is emotional. When you lose somebody, it's a very emotional experience. Responsibility is practical, and true care is both. So as we sit and think about that, I want to talk to begin with. I'm introducing my sweet friend Rob Lalo Mandir over here. He is with Country Financial. Can I say that? That's okay. Okay. And the reason I brought him on today is because always when I talk to the other side, their biggest concern is about burdens they've left for the living. The dead never really worry about themselves. They worry about the living. So we're going to bring each other kind of into this conversation. It's going to be a real informal experience, but I want to talk first about energy. So Nico, can we put that one up about energy? When we look at energy, a couple things to understand is that energy is not created nor destroyed. This is something that we've learned way back in the day. And you'll see that the consciousness of the other side surrounds us. So in this image here, you see the father kind of comforting the mom and the mom looking at the bills and being concerned and understanding insurance. I would say the bulk of people, when I talk to the other side, they'll say, you know what, I don't know where those files are. I didn't know we had an insurance policy. We might be losing our house in the midst of grieving a loved one. And that's traumatic enough. Going through the experience of losing someone you love is traumatic enough. But not knowing what your future is while you're still living is the most traumatic thing to go through. So they want to know, are you okay? Did I leave things in order? Did I make it harder for them? The dead, or even as people are getting older in their age, never really regret the things they did. They regret the things they didn't do. So I've done some work working with people in assisted living or I call them retirement homes, but I think there's a classier, newer name for them, but memory care, everything of the sort. And the interesting thing that always comes up is legacy. This concept of, did I do right by my family? Did I do right by my community? It's never they sit there and they go, can you tell me what my bank account number is? They're not concerned about the money for themselves. They don't put it on their epitaph. My bank account was this. They put loving father, dedicated serviceman, or whatever it is that identified them. But their bank account isn't one of those things. Yet in our communities, we chase that tangible currency. And let me talk about this. We talked about currency as energy. So when you're thinking about that, maybe we're chasing the wrong energy and the wrong currency. The other side doesn't want you to worry, but they want you to be concerned about the living. So I'm bringing Rob in. Does this resonate with you when you talk with families that have had losses? Because I'll say, I'm so grateful to Rob. He is actually my personal insurance person. And I like to say, Luna has a way of running her mouth sometimes. So it's so nice to know that I'm protected. My family's protected. My goods are protected. My life is protected. And I feel like if something was to happen, unfortunately, to me, I would be okay. My family would be okay.
Yeah, so life insurance, it should resonate with every single person, young or old. But more importantly, if you're a younger family and you've got younger kids, so like myself, I've got an almost 4-year-old and an 8-month-old. And one of the big reasons I got life insurance is to take care of my wife and my kids if something were to happen to me. I could leave the studio today and be distracted driving, pull out in front of a semi, and then poof, I'm gone.
Redacted universe. That is not a request. So I think the hardest part here is when you have grief, right? You're already hurting, you're in pain, you have loss of a loved one. And this might not just be about insuring that per se, because there's other things we need to be concerned about. Then you throw in the logistics of now, how am I paying for the funeral? I've seen so many people do GoFundMes to fund funerals for Nana, for their dad,
Mhm.
for their cousin, for their own child. oh my God, that must be the most horrific thing to lose as a child. Well, you're still a living parent, but that equals overwhelm. So you have grief plus logistics equals overwhelm. And I sit there and think about it, and I'm able to communicate with the other side through consciousness. So, can we put that one up about consciousness? Nico, as we take a look at that, um, the energy flows and it goes. So, when we take a look and we start to see that energy is able to be felt, because again, if it's not created nor destroyed, and you believe the science of that, great work done by Einstein, we know it has to go somewhere. So, it's almost like the most ultimate cosmic recycling. You're able to feel. And what's interesting is I have had a couple experiences. Let me back this up. On the way here, I was talking to my spirit team, to my creator, whatever you want to insert on your belief. You call it universe, call it God, call it Yahweh, call it Jesus, call it Abba, whatever your personal belief is. But I was talking to my creator and spirit team, and I said, look, I'm doing this episode today with a sweet friend of mine. And I said, I need a sign. I need a sign that the spirits are with me. I need a sign that if somebody wants to come in and ask about their other side and maybe have a message come through, that I'm ready. And I swear on everything, coming over, I get to see a lake as I'm driving here. And in the top of the trees of this beautiful lake was an eagle. Now, if you're from Alaska, you might say, Luna, they're like squirrels here. Yes, I understand. But in the Chicagoland area, they're not as prevalent as you would think. I don't see them very rarely. You see hawks, red-tailed hawks. I'm not a bird person, but I looked up and I saw the eagle, and I swear to God, I think the eagle looked at me. And I thought, okay. And then immediately in my head, if you are religious, you'll understand that song, Eagle's Wings. And every funeral I've ever gone to as a Catholic, they play that song. He will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. And I got to thinking about that. Now, this is very personal for me because I've told this story occasionally, but I've died once. Did you know this?
I did not.
Okay, I've died. And obviously I'm not dead, but this is the craziest story. Almost 24 years ago, I had an ectopic pregnancy and it ruptured. And unfortunately, it did it when I was on the highway driving with my 8-month-old daughter in the back seat. And to say I knew I was going to die is an understatement. My bigger concern was I was about 5 minutes from my house. And I knew I had to get her home because if I pulled over on the side of the road, no one would find us and something would happen to her. So in that thinking as a mother, as we often do, it's about protecting my daughter, Rory. And I was actually on the phone with my mom and she's like, pull over. I said, I will not. I said, I have to get home. I'm going to die. And I just knew. And actually my head hit the steering column. Now, I didn't expect my then husband, her father, to be home. He was supposed to be away in Springfield at a conference. My head hits the steering column. That's what lets the horn go off. The last thing I felt was my head hitting the steering column. The next thing I remember was I was standing in a long hallway, and it reminded me a lot of, I went to Catholic grammar school, of those square tiles. Like if you've ever been, for some reason, it's always like a vet office, or it's always like a Catholic school. It's got these big square tiles, like 70s design. I'm on one side of the hallway, and there's this Gadsby style party on the other side of the hallway. And, I looked at it and I went, Gadsby is my era. I'm the Gadsby girl.
I might fall into that.
Right. I was like, oh, it's clinking. And it's almost like if you don't have your glasses on and you can hear the cheers and you can see the candelabras and people are having a party. And all I could hear them say is, come here, come to us, come to us. And it was so beautiful.
In a heartbeat, I would have.
I was this close. And I felt myself like being drawn to it because I'm like, oh, this is my era. This is what I would seem. And if you've ever read The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom, he talks about everybody's heaven is their perception and their alignment mentally of what heaven looks like. That was my heaven, is a Gadsby's party. So I started to walk and then I stopped. Into the hallway, maybe if it was, I recognized the hallway. It was the hallway of where I went to grammar school. I started to walk and I said, no. I cannot leave her behind. She's too young. I will not. I will not. And I think that's what people talk about when they are fighting for their lives. I was negotiating with my creator saying, he's like, I'm offering this to you. You can come to us now. And I said, no, I can't leave my daughter. I can't leave her. She's too little. It was my biggest concern was her, not me, not my life, not anything else but my daughter. And for a moment, I said, I won't go. The next thing I remember, I wake up in a hospital bed, and there's this beautiful nurse with ringlets and a beautiful porcelain face. And she's wearing the old nurse's hat and a nurse white outfit, not scrubs, not looking like any nurse you've ever seen before, like just that old time nurse, like the 19.
You woke up in World War II?
Like kind of, yeah, like literally. And she said, don't worry, you're home, you're safe. And I passed back out again to then say to, as I jokingly was, to Mac's husband, when you thought I was dead, did you hit on my nurse? And he goes, what are you talking about? I said, well, she was gorgeous and glorious. And I described her with the ringlets of curls. She was an angel, and literally was an angel. And he said, no, your nurse is this Polish woman with purple hair. And I went, what? Because I've been in the room since they pulled you back from the OR. And this is who's been in here with you. And till this day, I know a nurse brought me back. The nurse was an angel. She was absolutely the most beautiful human, not even human, most glorious woman figure I've ever seen. And from that moment, which happened back in 2023, so it's been 23 years, almost 24, I understood the importance of living intentionally and being prepared for my passing. And I'm not afraid to die. If anything, I say this to people all the time, I'm afraid to not live intentionally. I'm
That's a great
afraid,
perspective.
right. I'm not afraid to die because I don't think death is the end for any of us. I'm just afraid to not live intentionally. I'm afraid to not even afraid, because you can operate from two systems, fear or love. I am more concerned about not being in my own personal alignment. Previously, back then, keeping up with the Jones and just trying to be what an ideal mother was instead of who I am. So that was essential to me. And I see a lot of the women I work with at Luna Goddess struggle with that. They struggle with identity. They struggle with self-worth. So please, if you're one of those people that is having that issue, please reach out to me. As always, you can catch my QR code and scan and connect that way. But does that resonate with you? Do you see people like when they're at their end, maybe not having the resources they need to carry over, or the family dissensions then become unclear?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with people from all walks of life, all ages. And what I see with the younger folks is, oh, I've got time. Oh, I've got time. And then with the older folks, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. And the younger folks, sure, they haven't hit the prime of their earning in their careers. They haven't found their niche where, they're enjoying what they do or making as much money as they feel like they need. And the older folks, they've kind of already done that. They're into retirement or close to. And now they're thinking about, okay, what can I leave for my kids or my grandkids? What can I do? But for the younger people who think that they have time, the best time is now. It's like, I always kind of compare, because I'm a car guy.
Right.
I compare it to when you have a brand new car, low maintenance, low cost, compared to a car that you've got that's 30 years old, that
classic.
You're getting nickel and dime by. When you are young and relatively maintenance free, that is when it's going to be the least expensive and you can get the most. And a lot of folks that are younger, when I talk to them, they don't realize all that goes into how to get to XYZ number when I talk to them. So I walk them through. They don't realize that they can use life insurance to replace their income if something happens to them. And they don't realize, like, if something does happen to them over the next 10, 15 years, especially if they have younger kids, that may force the kids and, their survivors to have to move, have to relocate, have to find new friends, new school. In some cases, hopefully it doesn't happen. I hate to hear when it does happen. But they're, if they have a spouse that they leave behind, almost has to settle with another partner just to be able to make ends meet. And we don't want to do that. ever. We don't want to be forced into a situation.
And I have a client that way, that she was married to the love of her life, and they had two beautiful children together. And I'm going to speak in kind of generality, out of respect for
Yeah, absolutely.
client, patient, relationships that way. But she's shared with me that when her husband died, she had no idea. He handled all the finances, didn't even know if there was a life insurance policy, didn't find it till later, but ended up, there had been a guy that had pursued her, I guess, in high school, that never stopped kind of running her down, who was an alcoholic and a crazy dude. But he had money. And her big concern was, I'll take the hit, literally was taking hits
Oh, no.
to allow her children to have the lifestyle that they were familiar with. And to me, that's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking
Yeah.
to think that you sacrifice your freedom
And your well-being.
and your well-being. And luckily nothing happened to the kids. But I mean, with the way that people are, there's horrible stories that I've had to help people through and support them through their healing when I've heard about the things that have happened to the kids. I remember when I taught many moons ago, God, it's about 2001. So let's do some math. That would be 25 years ago. Jesus. There was a girl that would come to my class. I was teaching Spanish at the time, and I absolutely adored her. And she was a sweet little girl, sophomore in high school, and always bubbly, always bubbly. And the one day she came, and she was just a cactus. She was snarly and really just tense and snappy, and it wasn't her personality. And I pulled her aside. I said, "What's going on?" Because as an intuitive, this is something that has always been such a beautiful blessing and curse sometimes in my life. I said, what's going on? And she said, nothing. It's not your effing business. I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Whoa.
And she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I said, okay, well, what's wrong? And it came to be that her mother's new boyfriend was sexually assaulting her.
Wow.
And I, being a mandated reporter, took it and got the guy put in prison. Like, it was a long thing. And I ended up I didn't have to go to court, but I did have to give a statement. And, I'm thinking, I don't know this guy. He could come after me, could come after what. Luckily, at that point, 2 years later, she is now a senior, different building. And she finds out I'm pregnant with my daughter, the one I was talking about earlier. She comes back with a Winnie the Pooh balloon. And she's like, you saved my life. I was going to end it because I didn't want to live in that abuse, and you took me out of it. She goes, my mom was still a little mad at me that I broke up her relationship because she didn't believe me. And that's the thing. I was like, but to hear that, I broke into tears. I mean, I was pregnant enough already, so emotions were hard, right? Emotions are hard when you're already going through it, like whether you're in, us women. But to think about that, right? To think about that, and to think about what her mom had to choose because she didn't have the resources and the dating and the this, and whether it's divorce or just being prepared. So talk to me about what can we do to make sure that we have, that lack of preparation, that lack of protection, that lack of clarity. To not have that, right? Like, to have the protection, the clarity, and to understand, like, you're okay. Like, if I pass, how do I what do I start to do that? Like, let me pull it in. Nico, you're 21 years old, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Do you think about this stuff? Let's be real.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part,
Do you have any kids?
I do not.
That you are
So,
in rare.
Yeah, I'm
rare
completely
area
on my own by myself. So I have a little bit of a different situation. But if I didn't, I would be on a life insurance plan right now. So, but
well, the
no
fact
one
that you're
else.
21 and thinking about that,
Yeah.
that puts you in rare.
Yeah, I was just about to say none of my friends have even
I know
thought
when I
about
was
it.
21, I was thinking about.
I was thinking about what bar we were going to and what cute outfit I was wearing.
I didn't even think I was going to make it to 30 when I was 21. I was like, I
I
don't have to worry about
I
any
did
of that.
some crazy shit. I'm going to tell you. And I'm not going to tell you because you're my insurance guy. My rates might go up, but that's
I'm not
old.
an actuary. It's fine.
That's cool. Then we'll keep it rolling. I think it's important, especially if you've lost somebody and they've left you in the lurch financially. That could be part of what goes into it. Like, I think some people are forced to grow up much faster than they need to.
Absolutely. They absolutely are. Trauma will do that for anybody who's ever been through it. You grow up quick with trauma when you're young. But for those kinds of situations, the first step is to find a trusted advisor.
Right.
And it's hard to meet. You're not going to go online and put in some of your information, and then somebody. It's probably at this point it's AI,
Right.
and could be AI. Let me
Most potentially
backtrack
will
there.
be, right?
But little to no underwriting, which is fine. When you're young, you typically don't go through a ton of underwriting anyway. But you don't know why you have the number. You don't know the why behind why you're doing it. And so when you have a local trusted advisor, somebody with experience, go through a list of questions, and we do it every single day. And I've got a list of questions that I ask every single one of my clients that are must-haves, and as they answer that, it branches out and becomes way more individualized. And then I figure out the why behind you wanting life insurance to take care of whatever it is. I've had clients who don't have any family left, and they want to leave something to someone somewhere. And a lot of the times I'll ask, hey, do you belong to a church, any organizations, anything like that? Do you think that they could benefit from something like this? And that's how some folks leave a legacy, because at the end of the day, that's kind of what the ego wants, is to leave a legacy.
Well, and I think it's just about, I don't know if it's really even ego per se. I think it's just about wanting to know that your life counted and that you made it count. And then once you're gone, that it continues to bring value to others.
Yeah.
So I always say, like, being in education, if you can't think of it, you're not religious, you can't think of a church or an organization, donate it to your local school and make it a scholarship, so a child can have an opportunity at a future that they wouldn't have had. I feel like I've noticed, and this is just the pattern of working with clients, the lower class, and I hate saying low class and middle class, and I feel like the middle class is dissolving faster than a tablet in water. But I feel like those are the, like, we're almost blocked by our mentality, by our mindset of understanding this, where the upper class and the rich understand trust, and they understand insurance, and they understand structuring all of these resources so future generations do it. There's legacies. Like, I don't need my name on a damn library, but I want to know I made a difference.
Yeah.
Right. So is that something that I think that a lot of our viewers might be like, well, I didn't really think of it that way.
Yeah, well, and it depends, with lower income, and I grew up in low income, and it was survival mode. That's not anything that was ever thought of when my mom passed away. It was years before I even got into insurance and obtained the knowledge to, if I had it when she had passed away, would have helped. And my dad lost the house because he was disabled and wasn't drawing Social Security yet. So banks don't care. Debt collectors don't care. And sorry that I get emotional when
Please
I talk about my mom.
look in here on Intuitive Innovations, and anytime you're with me, this is the emotion that a lot of people feel when they go through loss. So for you to authentically be having that just speaks volumes to your character. It speaks volumes to who you are as a human being.
That.
And that's why you represent me, because I only work with really high quality people. But, Rob's a perfect example, right? Like, if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you have to determine, do you want to put food on the table or pay the light bill? Last thing you want to be doing is paying a premium for insurance.
Yeah.
But it's essential.
It is.
The fact that your dad lost the house, I don't think I knew that.
It's we're estranged at this point now, so I don't talk too much about him. And that's for another episode.
Right. That's a different episode, folks.
But yeah, so growing up in, lower income, we didn't have the resources available. And it is, if you are in the system, thankfully my mom worked 3 jobs, so I was never in the system. But trying to figure out even who to talk to figure out those resources, it can take years. Because when I first got on my own, I just, all right, boop, boop, online. I know I have to have auto insurance. I know I have to have renter's insurance. I'm just going to do it online. Sure, that's probably what I should be paying. Fine. And then never talk to anybody. There's no annual reviews to see if my financial situation has changed. The only time that anything changes is if I got a new car or something like that.
Right.
And it's finding that local person that you can, in the day of technology, it is honestly such a privilege to be able to walk into somebody's office
Oh, absolutely.
and
And have
be able to-
accessibility.
Yeah.
I actually can text you and I can say, I was surprised. You caught me, we were at an event together and you said, hey, let's just sit down for 10 minutes. And I went, what? I have to review this? Like no one else has ever taken that. I'm 50 years old. And that was the first time that somebody took the time to review my policies with me. You cared enough to say, hey, Luna, let's take a look at this. And I went, what? And I said to my husband, I said, he's a real one. I'm so grateful.
Yeah,
to
and when
think about that.
you have somebody in your corner that can make sure that you're taken care of in the event of the worst possible day of your family's life happening, it's peace of mind.
Oh, it's
And
absolutely a peace of
you
mind.
sleep better at night, and me in my role, just having a conversation with you about it, I sleep better at night. And
And that speaks volumes to your integrity. It speaks volumes to your integrity. And we're not just talking about like, obviously, it's so much beyond just life insurance, right? It's, God forbid, a friend of mine had a fire, she just bought a new condo. This was years ago, early 2000s, and she bought a brand new condo in
Mhm.
Chicago, an upcoming neighborhood. It was being gentrified, which I'm not a big fan of, but it was completely gorgeous, super expensive. Within a month and a half of living there, there was something wrong with the wiring in her microwave. It was the microwave. Her whole place burned.
oh my gosh.
Her whole place burned, right? It was salvageable. I guess they were able to do that. But all of her stuff had to get put into uh, I don't even know what you call it. You might know this, but they had to like smoke out all her crap. And she had to be out of her place for a year and a half.
Mhm.
A year and a half, but still make payments on it.
Mhm.
Still make payments on it. We collaborate with some people that talk about restoration and water damage and fire damage. So it's so far beyond just that life insurance policy. Like you said, you could be driving redacted and something happens, and now your car's totaled,
Mhm.
and you're still paying. We're paying on our cars. I'd still have to keep paying on my car that I can't even drive.
Well, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't because you talk to me.
No, ha 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 ha.
But yeah, there's
I'm okay.
a lot of moving parts with it, and every day my job is to make sure that if something happens on your worst day, that you're whole, that you have a plan.
Kind of like a counselor.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
I guess that's what I'm here for. So he makes sure everything's okay, and then I make sure you're okay. See how we work so well together?
Mhm.
All of your things are okay, and Luna makes sure you
Yeah,
are
the material
okay.
items and the things that are replaceable, don't worry, I got you.
Yeah.
Now the mental health and the spiritual stuff,
That comes to me.
Yeah.
So
I'm no help.
but you are in a way because you spoke so beautifully about your own personal experience. So I think anytime that you can bring in your own spin on something because you've lived it, the more that I work with the extremely wealthy, and I have some NDAs, so I have to be careful who I talk about, but I have clients that their wealth would blow you out of the water, like your mind would just go. There's knowledge that's passed down from generation to generation.
Mhm.
There's understandings. It's almost like a mind. You start getting trained at a very early age,
Yeah.
one of two ways: that lack mindset or that abundance mindset. And for us in the middle, or maybe like towards the lower end where I was, we grew up very similarly. We've talked about this, that to jump over to a different mindset, like even when the rich, the extremely rich, lose all their money, they don't lose their mindset.
Yeah.
And they're able to rebuild within a year and a half, because they understand that mindset. Whereas
Well, they know the system. They know,
they
how to
know
get
the
to it.
system. And that's another thing. Like, what would be your top 5 tips, tricks, things to help people understand or to do? Like, if I'm walking around, no insurance, no nothing, just on a prayer and a wing and hoping that, Archangel Michael's got my back. What would you say are those top things to do?
No matter what your income is, first thing that you should do is get a financial advisor.
Okay.
That would be my number one recommendation. because they know how this, well, if they're good, they know how the system works. It doesn't matter if you're putting in $10 a month or $500 every week. Something in the market is better than nothing. And that's how you really start to get out of that cycle. That's how once I started figuring out how things work and surrounding myself with the right people,
There it is.
I started investing as quickly as I could. And if your employer offers a 401k, do the match. If you qualify, open up an IRA. Things like that. And I'm not a financial advisor, and that's not financial advice. But that's what I did when I was young and first starting to get out on my own.
So you hear that, Nico?
Yep.
Okay, clock it.
Yeah, I was listening.
Okay, good. I check. I care. He's like my little mini son over there. Not mini, but like he's like one of my loves.
I've heard that before, like that advice, and now that he says it again,
You're clocking it?
Yeah, it's stuck
Okay,
with
it's
me
Luna
now.
approved advice, folks.
Perfect.
Couple things. I feel like I wish, and I can't build a DeLorean. I don't even think I could get into a DeLorean at my size. But quite honestly, I would go back to 18-year-old me. That was I've been working since I was 10. Let's be honest. I've been working since literally 10. I would go into this heat. It's called Heat Masters in Chicago. You guys might know. I don't even know if it's still there. And we get flyers. I was 10 years old, and we jump in this back of a truck, a pickup truck that was rusted the F out. And our job at 10 was to go like paper everybody's houses with these flyers. Like this was their advertising. I was 10 years old. I was in the truck with grown ass men and other kids.
Yeah, it seems safe.
Like it was not safe. Like we're bouncing around. I tell you on a wing and a prayer, thank God to Jesus that I'm still here. But what I go back to is like 18. I've read something, and maybe you might know about this, and it's just a whole comprehensive thing about being prepared. Because when we talk about money, as I said, it's energy, right?
Mhm.
It's another form of energy, but it's renewable where time isn't. Let's make sure you all understand that. I will lose all my money, but I don't want to lose any of my time.
Yeah.
Right? We pay for convenience now, obviously. But going back to that 18-year-old me, if I had put $18,000 into an account and didn't touch it until 50-year-old me or 60-year-old me in 10 years, I have multiple millions I think it's like $2.4 million.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, it's if you look at history, it's always gone up.
So Nico, clock it. $18,000. Get it into an account immediately and don't touch it. And then Nico's taking me out to dinner when he's 60 if I'm still alive.
Yeah, as soon as I have that money, I'll be
clock
sure
it.
to do
But it
that.
doesn't even have to be big chunks of money that, So this seems like an unusual topic for me as an intuitive, as a wellness practitioner, as a medium to be discussing, but it's essential because, like I said, when I talk to the dead, they're at peace. If they were suffering here with various illnesses or addictions or whatever the case may be, on the other side, they're totally free, but they stay connected through consciousness, through the toroidal field that comes out of your heart. If you don't understand this, your heart space has a much bigger field than your brain. And they've done this, and where your heart space can go out to almost like 16 feet. So if you have this open heart, if you have this authentic love, it can connect. And if you look through that consciousness, you can connect with a loved one. And like I said, I talk to clients and I'll say, well, there's this blue, I don't know their homes. I don't know anything. I talked to one and I said, there's this blue bird. I'm assuming it's a blue jay, but again, I'm not a birdie person. I don't even know what what do they call those aviary people? Do you know what they call bird people?
Bird
don't-
watchers.
There's a weird, for you bird watching people, please tell me in the comments, what the hell do you call yourselves? Congratulations. Thank you. But going back to this, I said, there's this blue bird and it's watching you. And she goes, oh my God, how do you know that's in my backyard? I said, well, that's your dad. That's your dad. Or there's coins, or there's feathers, or there's a sign. How long has your mom been passed?
It'll be 7 years on Halloween.
And I got married on Halloween. So Halloween to me is a very important day. When you think about that 7 years coming up on Halloween, do you ever see a sign from her?
Nah, I'm not looking for signs. So, I mean, probably, maybe. But since we had our first daughter, Halloween has been very different for me.
Right.
It has been.
Tell me about that.
It's been
It's a
wonderful.
joy.
Yeah, it's
Right.
and maybe that's the sign. Because the first couple of years, my wife and I, we would do anything to avoid the topic.
Just to go numb.
Yeah, and we would the first year. So in 2020, the first Halloween after, she was like, "Hey, let's watch." This. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of the movie or not.
You're good.
Let it fly.
But okay. But she's a big Hocus Pocus fan.
Oh my God, how can you? Your wife has
it's-
not met me yet. So how did
No, she's a nurse, so she's just
Mhm.
and a very devoted mother. She's amazing. Shout out Kate.
Shout out.
And so she would, try to take my mind off it, and it's like, well, the worst part about it is Halloween was my mom's favorite holiday,
Oh, mine too.
and so it was just that 2020. It was the very beginning of the pandemic, and so we were all stuck at home.
So you have to feel it.
And yeah, so I had to try and deal with it. And other than dark humor, I've got no coping skills. Zero.
I know a girl that might be able to help you with that.
Yeah, I need to set an appointment for sure.
Yeah.
And I appreciated the effort, but it was just like I just kind of want to be alone.
I get it.
And 2021, we're now used to the pandemic. We had just gotten married in the June before, and a little more open to it. Sat there watching a movie with her. I got about halfway through before I was like, all right, I gotta, just go decompress. And then our daughter was born in May of 22, and it was just like a flip of a switch. It's like, oh, she's in her little cow outfit, and she was 5 months old, so she didn't know what was going on. But it was just like, okay, I can't let this be different because she's gonna miss out on it, and I'm gonna miss out on her enjoying it. And just year after year, it just gets better.
You
every
let the
single year.
pain fall off with you.
Yeah,
You didn't pass it on. Where unfortunately, I work with clients that have ancestral pain passed down generation to generation to generation. As always, if that's one of you, please reach out to me because I have a protocol for that. Or if you have that mother's wound or father's
Mhm.
wound, something that you may be working through. But there's something to be said that I believe she was your gift from your mom.
I'd like to think so.
I do believe so. I do believe that the joy that she developed, and you'll watch, if you really lock in, you'll probably see some of those beautiful gifts of your mom and your daughter. Right? The
Yeah, I think one of the
curiosity.
gifts is karma. At least as of this morning, it was.
Oh, whoa, okay. So,
So as a kid, I did not like waking up early,
okay.
and I think my oldest, her name's Vivian.
Mhm.
I think Vivian may have inherited that, and I think that's a little bit of karma. But
She
yeah,
wakes up late, you're saying?
she just doesn't want to get up.
I don't blame her.
And
I
then
like
on the
my
days
body.
that she does get up, it's way too early. So this morning, it was a combination of both. She got up at 4:50 and came into our bedroom and
Ah.
didn't fall back asleep until about 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. She was missing mom. Mom was up getting ready for work. And then she finally fell back asleep and then wouldn't wake up till like 8:40. I'm like,
Oh my
I gotta
gosh.
go.
You're like, I got a podcast with Luna today. Let's move it. One thing, we've got what's that? I do not have my glasses on. Help me out, Nico.
Moon Kitty says our kids are our biggest teachers.
Yeah,
Oh, that
yeah.
Moon Kitty, hello, love. Because it's you. Yeah. And I think that's why we choose, if you are a parent, this is what I'm going to implore to you is if you're a parent and, working with Rob, I have peace in knowing my home, my goods, myself, even my business in a certain instance my kids are going to be okay. Because I don't, like I said, I'm not afraid to die. I'm afraid to not live intentionally. And the real burden is I don't want to leave a burden to my family or my husband, who's 10 years younger than I'm sorry. He'll correct me. He's 9 years and some months younger than I am, but he's still younger. He's in his 40s. I'm in my 50s. It's a real thing. And my mindset still thinks I'm in my 20s. So of course I'm going to keep doing stupid shit like parasailing. I'm sorry. I will not be.
La la la
La la la la la. I'm still going to keep doing stupid shit. So let's be real. It's important about protecting yourself and your peace and your family's prosperity, because I don't want them to lose. I don't want to lose the house. I don't want to lose
Right.
what I have worked my butt off for my kids, for myself, for my legacy. I don't want that being lost. So
I can't remember what the percentage of households that are dual income now. I mean, it's much higher than
Oh,
what it
it's
was even just
high.
15, 20 years ago.
right.
But so, let's say for example, I'll use my family as an example. We just moved last year.
Right.
So we actually were able to buy a house. So
Which is
boom.
so hard for this generation.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know if
Con-
you're going to be able to.
Right.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm gonna.
No disrespect
Just
to
talk to
you
a
guys.
financial advisor. They'll make sure it
The
happens.
Gen Ys and Gen A's, I think you guys are going to be renting for the rest of your lives, unless you come into some amazing, like, I don't know, creator.
Well, and
money or
that's
something.
kind of what we're seeing in the market. Some assets like, hey, I want to have something I can leave for my kids or grandkids. That way, when they're of adult age, they don't have to struggle to come. I mean, 20% of whatever the housing market's going to be 10, 15 years from now is going to be just insane money. And if you try not to get political, but if wages don't keep up, no one's going to be able to.
No, that's economical.
Yeah.
That's not political. You're just saying that if you're outspending your income, that's just common math right there.
And that's what I've set up for my girls is that, when they're 25, 27, if they, they decide to go to college, we've got accounts set up for that to pay for that. And we've got policies with living benefits that should they choose to cash out those living benefits, the idea is that would be used for down payment on a home. And, ideally, I don't want them to have to be dependent on anybody else to help with that. If they ask us, and we can, we'll help.
Of course, because, you want to give them roots and wings and you want them to have that responsibility.
Right.
Because I think anything that's ever been handed to somebody is usually by the third generation completely destroyed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, gosh, if I was Nico's age and, my parents had left something for me at 21, immediately gone on frivolous things.
Yeah, like
It would have been.
Boone's farming a new pair of Doc Martens.
Yeah, it would have
I
been
don't
all right,
know.
my dream car.
Yeah.
it would have
Whatever's
been-
in trend right now.
Exactly.
Whatever's trend.
Exactly.
And listen, as an influencer and a UGC creator, I understand consumerism
Yeah.
incredibly. I actually kind of depend upon it for my paycheck some days, but it's also about understanding that stuff doesn't fill the void.
No.
So
it
when
doesn't.
somebody passes, when somebody's gone, listen, that Easy Bake Oven I wanted when I was 7, I don't even have it anymore. I wish I did. It's probably a collector's item, but
You could probably go on eBay.
I
and get another one.
probably could.
I think I know what you're getting for the holidays.
Cinnamon, do not give me an Easy Bake Oven. I barely use our real oven. Let's be honest. But I do love my Instapot. Instapot, not a sponsor, but you could be. And I just feel like it's not the things, it's the memories, it's the time. So as we're kind of getting to winding down in the podcast, the things that I keep hearing from spirit, because there's some spirits around me. So there's somebody that wants to come through. This is a very haunted studio. So there's always something coming around with me. And usually my tech is doing some weird stuff. Today it's kept peace because I think it agrees with what I'm saying. And it's almost like clapping us on saying, take care of the living. Because once the dead are dead, there's nothing else you can do. You can honor them. And that's an interesting thing that I was going to say. When your mom passed on Halloween,
Mhm.
the next day in Latino culture is Dia de los Muertos, which is the 1st and 2nd of November, is an All Souls Day if you're Catholic. It honors the deceased. Like if you go watch like Coco, I imagine some days when your girls get a little bit older, they might like to watch that movie. Coco.
Oh, we've watched.
Have you? Do
Yeah,
they love it?
Coco is one of my favorite Disney movies too. So
Isn't it interesting?
it's a very
Funny that
beautiful
I kept hearing Coco, Coco, Coco. And there's other books like the Book of Life or,
Mm.
but it speaks to that as a society, at least here in the United States, we need to get to a place where we don't mourn, we honor.
Yeah.
And that's really hard. And I don't know if that's because we leave the unsaid, like whether it's through estrangement, whether it's through
But so
self-editing. What
you
do
know,
you think?
funerals and everything like that, it's obviously, it's not for the deceased.
Right.
It's for the living, and it's just so ingrained in our culture. And I
Do you
should
have-
probably know where it comes from, but mourning versus celebrating. I mean, I would much rather have celebrated.
Okay. Do you have your plans for when you pass, how you're,
Yes.
okay. What are they? Would you mind sharing?
Yeah. No, I don't mind. So I plan on getting cremated, as far as I know,
Okay.
and would rather have a celebration of life. Somebody, have our friends and family, our nearest and dearest, over, eat all the favorite foods that I have, and hopefully, I pass before my wife does. That way, I can have her eat the foods that I know she doesn't want to eat.
Lactose intolerant. Enjoy those cheese balls. I know.
That's an evil last
That's a
wish.
bad one. Okay, well, mine's better. Not better. Like, I'm not trying to like one up you here, but here's mine.
Go.
I'm going to be
Be my guest.
cremated as well. Part of my ashes. Now watch, I've got like percentages of how this is going to go. Luna's being cremated. Part of my ashes are going into jewelry, keychains, whatever. So my kids can always have them with me. Now, because my kids tend to be careless on occasion, I'm going to have backups made. So when they
Mhm.
lose the shit, they have another one. Then I'll be put like in a savings box or something or be alongside our trust. I'm also going to take part of my ashes and say, okay, when you go someplace that I didn't get to experience during my life, leave my ashes there. Like, don't pollute, just sprinkle me somewhere, sprinkle me on the grass, right? Return back to the earth. The third thing I want done with my ashes is I want them put into fireworks so that when they go off on the 4th of July, I can rain down on my haters and they literally will have bits of me in them. So those people, and I will make sure it goes over their homes, they will be burst the fuck open, pardon the language, but you know how I am. Let's be real. And bits of Luna will rain down on my haters. As far as my celebratory party, there's going to be drinking. There's going to be food that I love. And if you don't like it, don't go. There's going to be gambling. It's probably going to be an establishment like a casino. Casinos?
Riverboat.
Oh, yeah.
Riverboat.
We're going to book the riverboat. Casino's not a sponsor. It could be. Then also, I want people just to tell fun stories. I'm going to make recordings. I'm starting on them now for people that I particularly didn't care for when I was alive. So if they try to come and see that I'm really dead or pretend like they gave a shit when I was alive, they're going to be stopped by a very big African-American man with big arms like this saying, F you, you're not welcome. And there's going to be a recording of my face saying, what the hell were you thinking? And me tell them exactly what I really thought about them while I was alive. That is how I'm dying.
I thought I was petty.
Whoa, this is going to be Patty Luna. And you know what? I know that sounds really harsh to a lot of people. They're like, shit, which list am I on?
That's going to be a very long and intense will to make for your lawyer.
Listen, that's why they get paid the big bucks. Actually, it's going to probably not be a will. It's going to be a trust because that's the way money really is secured
Oh yeah,
with
sorry.
families, right?
Yeah.
So I got to work on it. I've already been dead once. Quite honestly, I think this is my rerun and my ability to come back out ahead. I'm seeing some comments. So Nico, what do we got? Anything that I need to be aware of?
The last three, Moon Kitty says, in a way, I almost think it's better to rent. I know long term is not great.
Okay. And maybe that could be your personal perspective. Like we're talking right now, Cinnamon and I are talking about living outside the country. Like once the kids are all through college, like a 5-year plan or so, maybe 5-10, within the 10 years. Do we want to purchase something? Do we want to keep our home here? And do we rent that out? Do we live part-time here, part-time there? Do we rent? Do we buy in another foreign country? I think it just comes down to what's convenient for you. Do you like the flexibility of living in different areas? And as properties become more expensive, are you going to invest there in your roots? Like I'm in an HOA. Quite honestly, I'm in HOA hell. Oh my God. Are you in an HOA?
Mm-hmm.
What the F? Who's Karen asked bright idea was HOAs? I can't. That's a different show topic.
Ours is pretty relaxed. So I
have
that going for us. So.
I've been kicked out of our HOA Facebook group 3 times. I've been muted.
Why?
Because I speak the truth.
Because she's her.
I am her. I am me. Yeah, right. Okay. There are some other comments too. I'm missing. What else we could got?
My boys, I think, are planning to live with us forever. LOL. 16 and 13 are their ages.
Failure of the
there's a
wish.
lot of cultures that do that,
Right.
and it's up to the
Multi-generational living.
Yeah.
I would love to buy property. This was another thing in Tennessee, and have them have their own like little barndominiums and say, look, if this could be your home, I'm buying 10 acres. We can have a big circle drive, kind of like the Gemstones, I guess. I don't know. I'm
Oh,
not
that's such a good show.
such a good show. Oh my God. We laugh about it all the time. I'm Eli Gemstone, according to my husband. I motivate like that. But they have that whole compound, right? Where everybody's together, everybody can exist and co-peacefully have their own space, but still be collective family. And I'd like to have, and I don't know if my kids pay attention, a big like a woo picnic table. I don't is woo a word? I don't know. I'm
Now it is.
it's a woo picnic table. And just have everybody sit down with Edison lights and have Sunday dinner together.
Yeah.
Go do your own shit. But everybody welcome. Nobody's ever denied. So
Yeah, you gotta have the right family for that.
She just said that's what my hubs wants,
The
like
whole
a whole
compound.
compound. I think everyone wants their
I
own
think-
compound. If
I
I'm
think-
thinking
just-
about it, unless
it-
you really don't.
If
like
you use the
people.
word compound, you can't have Kool-Aid on the premise.
right, Julie, yeah, you can't Jerry
Can't
Jones
have-
yourself.
Can't have any of that.
We're not going to Waco. We're not wearing slippers in Seattle, or I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
no.
gym shoes,
Yeah.
right? Sneakers in Seattle, Kool-Aid at the party. I think compound does, but I think maybe a collective. What about a collective? Could we have a collect? That sounds pretty. Like I'm going to grow my own shit, have my own water
It's your
source.
own little town,
I think,
basically.
would we call it Lunaville?
Yeah,
Man,
you
that's
can call
getting
it whatever
really
you
cold.
want. No, it's fine.
All are welcome. No, actually, I'd love to do that. I would love to do retreats. I've talked about this. I want yurts. I didn't even know what a yurt was.
Still
You know what
don't.
a yurt is like a teepee for meditation.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I could say teepee. Sorry to my Native American friends if I misspoke. I don't know what's right or wrong anymore, but I'm Luna. I'm Gen X. Deal with it. But respectfully, right? And I guess they're just like, they look like, I don't know what the difference is. Somebody in the comments, please tell me what's the difference between a yurt and a teepee. I think it's just a new word for it. And just to have everybody come out and just relax, make some s'mores, tell some stories, like an adult camp for women. If you think that's a good idea, let me know. Blow me up. I need sponsors. Thank you.
In I believe it's Michigan right now. There is it's a whole town. It's a small town, don't get me wrong, but a whole town for sale. It's got a church, it's got strip malls, like where businesses
How much
were, and,
can I afford that?
and a school.
I don't know if it's a sound investment.
Yeah.
We're going to take a look at it. Michigan, we're coming for you. In Michigan, you can gamble online legally. So I kind of like this already because you can, play slots on your cell phone. That's one of the city.
You can't say this type of
Can't-
stuff in front of them.
You can't do it in Illinois. You cannot play slots for money in Illinois. Michigan's one of those places that you can.
Really?
New Jersey's another one. You want me to keep going, you guys? I am a wealth of knowledge. You just didn't understand. Not only am I intuitive, I'm a fantastic gambler. Okay. That said, you know what? As we want to love people, we don't want to leave them with confusion. I see billions of comments coming. And of course, Luna didn't put on our glasses because I don't like the glare from them. So is there anything else I need to be aware of, Nico?
I wouldn't want my parents close, but I think my kids would be fine with living close. We have honest conversations.
Moon Kitty, you and I both have that mother's wound, and we've talked about this on our show. They're not welcome. My kids are welcome, and they just got to get in line a little bit because you know what? Being children of divorce, it becomes difficult. And I'm not asking them to pick sides, do anything like that, but you align, I think, to one parent's energy versus another, and that's okay. But all are welcome that are like from me down. I've broke generational curses, and I already see this happening where, and I think it's so funny that people don't understand. I'm intuitive. So I'll be streaming on TikTok or, YouTube. Hello, everybody. And there'll be a bunch of my family members in the hallway, and I know they're there, but they don't come into support. So if it's not my children, my husband, and people that I consider personal family, like Nico, you're invited. Your family.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Okay. Some of the family that I've come from, the family of origin, lose the damn address. Don't send the Christmas card.
You feel that.
Like,
Yeah,
don't
I'm with you.
I'm gonna. There'll be compounds. Got it. I see a lot of love. I think our biggest wrap up is you don't know when you're going to pass, but you want to be prepared, not for yourself, because like I said, don't fear death. You can work from love or fear as those two systems, but you want to have the resources in place for your loved ones, because the last thing you want to do is leave them grieving, confused, and without what they need to be able to continue to live their lives intentionally. So,
the stress of trying to
right.
grieve
Oh God.
and also
Oh,
figure
God.
out bills, and also tell your family members that you've got things, if you've got things, because like we had talked about earlier, don't know if they have a life insurance policy, don't know if they have, this retirement account or that whatever it is. When you do your will, don't leave anything out, and you would be very surprised how low the percentages of people who try to take out their spouse or something for a life insurance policy. It's extremely low.
Right. Like I completely understand. Like some people try to keep that stuff, and nobody likes to talk about money. Nobody likes to talk about insurance. They feel like they're improper discussions and they're bringing the grim reaper to their door. But I'll tell you, I had a reading with a woman, and it was a medium reading, and her husband was in charge of all the bills. Of course, they're a little bit older. They're just right on the cusp of Boomer and Gen X, and he hid a bunch of stuff in the walls of his house. He showed me how he hid that, like money, hid money in the walls of their house, and then had this metal box. It was like a metal money box. And he had put it behind. So, like, you know how you can pull out those metal filing cabinets?
Mhm.
He'd put it behind the metal filing cabinet so nobody could find it. He was extremely paranoid about people taking money from him. And he didn't want his wife overspending while he was alive because he was very controlling with finances. So she's on the brink of losing the property. And he comes to me and says,
It's in the walls.
It's in the walls. She goes, what the hell? I said, it's in the walls. And I said, I don't know what the hell that means or how to find it. Like, do you need a metal detector? Do you need whatever? But he showed me, and she's like, I found the metal box. And she was so shocked that, like, she thought I was just like, I think look,
Thought you were crazy.
I think so. She's like, what are you talking about? Why would he hide money? I go, he told me you spent a lot of money. And he goes, yeah, he was a little controlling with finances. Well, then why would you be surprised?
FYI, there's $2 million in cash in
Yeah.
the
Right.
walls.
Like all of a sudden, like you're a multimillionaire and you've been eating like beans and rice, and you're like, what the hell was that? I think as we kind of wrap up here, Rob, thank you for being.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for protecting me and my family. I'm truly grateful for that.
That's what I'm here for.
If you don't have somebody local in the Chicagoland area, please, if you are questioning, like, how do you get in touch with Rob, who is a real human being? He's not AI. He'll give you a phone call. Please reach out to the show. Reach out to me. You know how to reach me at my QR code, because he's a real one. And I'm grateful for you.
Thank you. I
and
appreciate that.
For your presence. And Nico, what the takeaway for you, my love, start investing.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Protect yourself. For all of you that have watched, if you do want to try to connect with a loved one, please reach out to me. You know how to catch me at lunagoddess.org. It's important because they want you to be at peace like they are in their final resting place. So thank you again for joining us on Intuitive Innovations. Look forward to seeing you guys next time.